Hello everybody, this is another Hot Wheels Collector video. Today we are looking at Suki's Honda S2000, which features in the Hot Wheels Fast and Furious Premium Mainline set for 2023, and that is Series 3. This car is number 2 out of 10 in that set, and what I mean by Premium Mainline is, it's essentially just a mainline, so it has a plastic base and plastic wheels. However, it does receive the Premium Tempo treatment, in the sense that every single side does receive tempo work, and no details are missed out on this car. I will also mention that Suki's S2000 does feature in the movie Too Fast, Too Furious, the second movie in the Fast and Furious franchise. Anyways, I will quickly mention where I actually found this car then. So I found this car in a local Smyth's Toy Superstore at the price of £3.49. That is the standard price for these Hot Wheels Premium Mainlines. And this car, along with the RX-8, was sitting pretty much right at the front of the pegs. I wasn't initially going to get this car, but when I saw it on the pegs, I actually really liked the look of it, so I decided to pick it up. And it is quite a rare one anyway, so hey, yeah, it's in my collection now, and I'm definitely not regretting this purchase. It's a fantastic one. Alright, so let me give you some facts about the real life car. So Suki's S2000 was actually produced in 2000, and it had a 2-litre inline-4 engine with a Comptech supercharger. This car also has a Veilside Millennium body kit, and this car features in the race hosted by Tej Parker. It is also worth mentioning that West Coast Customs were involved in the creation of this S2000. The technical specs of the Fast and Furious S2000 are unknown, however let me give you some technical facts about the stock S2000. So the stock S2000 has 247 horsepower and 280 Nm of torque, converting to 161 pound-feet. This car also has a 0-60 in just 6.8 seconds. It is also rear-wheel drive and has a top speed of 149 miles per hour. Anyways, that is it for the facts about this thing. Now let's move on to my showcase of the Hot Wheels model. Alright, so kicking off this showcase then, we'll first of all take a look at the side of this car, and I'll first of all mention the wheel choice on this thing. So this car is rolling on the lace wheels which first debuted in 1996, and they've been painted here in chrome. They are quite accurate to the movie cars, because the car in the movie did have lots of spokes on its wheels as well, and they were painted in chrome. These are as accurate as you would get from Hot Wheels wheels, because they don't have one that looks exactly like the S2000 which features in the movie, so these will do. They're pretty close, so I will give it to them. That's a nice wheel choice for this thing, to make it look quite accurate. As for the actual colour choice of this thing, it's the same pink which features on the movie car. It is metallic and has a white metal flake in the paint. As for the tamper work then, it's just the tamper work which features in the movie car. So we have this kind of anime girl featuring on the side of this thing, as well as lots of white squiggles which feature along the side of the thing as well. The anime girl is tampered on there in a mixture of pink, white and purple, and I've already mentioned that those squiggles are done in white tampo. The other detail which we do see from the side of this thing in terms of tamper work is the side marker, side indicator or turn signal light has been tampered on here in an orangish pinkish colour. It's quite a pinky orange. I've never said that before, but it's kind of an orange with a pinkish look to it. But it does look very nice, and I'm happy to see that detail there on this car. Something that you do expect though, since you are paying a premium price for this car, so you do expect all the details to be there. Anyways, that's it for the tamper work on this thing. Now onto the metal casting. There's not a whole lot to talk about. So first of all, we do have the spoiler of this car featuring in the metal casting. You can see it from this side view. I will also mention that the door handle of this car does feature in the metal casting. I will also mention that there are no wing mirrors, unfortunately, on this car. That is a detail which is missing, and it will affect my score at the end of this video by about 0.5. That is a shame that those do not feature there. Now I'll finally mention that the front windows of this car are wound down. One thing I almost forgot about is the side skirt of this car. So the majority of the side skirt is created through the actual metal casting of the car. However, the lower part of the side skirt is actually created through the black based plastic. Anyways, that is it for the side of this thing. Now let's move on to the front of this car. Alright, so taking a look at the front of this car then, we do actually have more things for me to talk about here then. So first of all, I'll mention that the body kit featuring on this car is not the same as the one in the movie, unfortunately. The body kit featuring on this Hot Wheels model is actually Ryo Asada's own design. If you don't already know, he actually designed this Hot Wheels model. As for the actual tamper work on the front of this thing then, we do have quite a lot of it. So first of all, we do have the headlights of this car being tampered in a realistic look. Those headlights do include the indicator or turn signal lights as well, being tampered in orange. We also do have the Honda badge here being tampered as well in silver. And that is it for the tamper work on the front of this thing. Now onto the actual metal casting itself then. So first of all, we do have a small intake or vent featuring on the front of this thing, and that vent does not actually lead anywhere. It's not a shut off in the casting or a hole. It is just an indentation in the casting. We also do have the main front grille of this car also featuring the casting, but this time, unlike the previous vent, it actually is a shut off or hole and does lead through to the black base plastic. Very nice detail there. It does look a lot more 3D in my opinion. I will also mention that the front splitter of this car is created through the black base plastic. And finally, I will mention that you can see these what appear to be canards featuring in the metal casting as well. They're either canards or just a design cue that Ryu Asada decided to add to his body kit. Anyways, that's it for the front of this thing. Now let's move on to the next side of this car. Alright, so taking a look at the next side of this car then, it is the exact same as the previous side, so I'm not going to bore you with going over everything all over again. You can obviously pause the video here and have a look for yourself if you're looking for something specific. The only detail which actually features on this side, which isn't on the previous side, is the fuel filler cap, featuring here, molded into the metal casting. Anyways, that's it for this side. Now let's move on to the rear of this thing. Alright, so taking a look at the rear of this car then, we do have quite a lot of detail in terms of the metal casting, plastic usage and also tamper work. So first of all, we do have the rear lights of this car being tampered in a realistic look. Those rear lights do include the indicator or turn signal lights, the brake lights and the reverse lights. The turn signal or indicator lights have been tampered in orange as you would expect. The brake lights of this car have been tampered in red, once again as you would expect. Finally, we do have the reverse lights of this car being tampered in white as you would expect once again. We also do have the third brake light of this car featuring tampered on here as well in red. We also do have the Honda badge of this car being tampered on here in silver. Alright, so that is it for the tamper work on the rear of this thing. Now let's move on to the actual casting itself as well as plastic usage. First of all, we do have this giant spoiler featuring on this car. It is actually in the metal casting, it is not a separate plastic piece. However, this spoiler is not accurate to the movie car. This spoiler is just Ryu Asada's own design here. So some people might not be very happy with this body kit, and I totally do understand. If you're looking for a very accurate car to the movie, this might not be it for you. The thing which is accurate about this car though is the tamper work and livery as well as paint job. We also do have the license plate holder of this car featuring the metal casting. You could easily add your own license plate to the license plate holder using some kind of permanent sticker. A quick Google will easily get you on the right tracks to finding one of these. Finally, I'll mention that the diffuser section of this car is created through the black base plastic. We also do have the dual exit exhaust of this car featuring in the black base plastic. Oh, and one thing I also want to mention is, as you can see from the rear of this car, and you've already probably seen from the front of this thing, this car does have very wide arches, and that is part of Ryu Asada's custom body kit of this car. Anyways, that's really it for the rear of this thing. Now let's move on to the top of this car. Alright, so taking a look at the top of this car then, there's a lot more detail here, so let's get straight into it. First of all, you can see the spoiler of this car featuring the metal casting. I've already mentioned this, but you can get a good top view of this from here. You can also see the white scribbles returning from the side of this thing, once again tampered in white. That is accurate to the movie car. Next up, onto the roof of this car, you can see that there is actually a roof scoop molded into the metal casting here. It does not actually lead anywhere though, there's no shut off or hole in it. Instead, it is just an indentation where the hole would be. You'll be able to see that a little bit better from the front, so it doesn't look super realistic, but it does do the job pretty nicely. And from this section, you can also see the interior plastic of this car is done in a very light grey colour. And I will also mention that those, what I can describe as scribbles, do feature on the roof of this car as well, once again tampered in white. I will also mention that this car does actually have windshield wipers, very nice to see that there. It is a small detail featuring on this car, however it will affect my score at the end of this video in a positive way. Very nice to see them there in the window plastic. And finally, taking a look at the hood of this car then, we do have more detail in terms of tamper work, but also the metal casting. So first of all, you can see the window washer fluid squirters featuring the metal casting there. That is what those two bumps represent. You can also see this gigantic vent which features on the hood of this thing. Again, this is not accurate to the movie car. Instead, this is just Ryu Asada's own design and imagination of this car. This vent does not actually lead anywhere. Instead, it's just molded into the metal casting. So yeah, there's no holes or shutoffs in that vent. I will also mention that that white scribbling tamper work does feature on the hood of this thing. Finally, I'll mention this bulge in the hood of this car featuring in the metal casting. Anyways, that is it for the top of this car, and that is also it for my showcase of this thing. So now let's move on to my final thoughts and review on this car. Alright, so now it's time for my final thoughts and review on this car. I really do like this casting. I think Ryu Asada has designed a really awesome body kit for this car. And I actually really do like the tampo work on this thing as well. It's very accurate to the movie car. All the details that you could possibly want are here, including the headlights, Honda badging, rear lights, and all the side graphics which feature on the car, as well as the side marker or indicator lights. I also really do like the plastic usage of this thing. The use of the black base plastic to create things like the front splitter of this car, as well as the rear diffuser, is fantastic. Makes this casting hold up a lot better to today's standards. Even though this casting is really old, from all the way back in 2010, this casting is over 13 years old. That is absolutely crazy. The interior plastic is also really nice and accurate to the movie car from what I could see, in a quite light grey colour. But for Fast and Furious fans, this car is not going to be it for you guys. The reason for it is the body kit is not accurate at all to the Fast and Furious car. So I would highly recommend that if you are just getting cars because it's Fast and Furious and you're not bothered about the brands, definitely go and find this car from another brand which is a bit more realistic and accurate, because this is not that accurate to the movie car. Whilst I actually do prefer the body kit featuring on this Hot Wheels model to the movie car's body kit, it's not accurate, and that will annoy a lot of Fast and Furious fans. So that does lead me on my score at 10. I should say scores really, because I'm going to give it 2 scores out of 10. My personal score out of 10, and then I'm going to give it an actual accurate to the movie score. So how accurate is this car to the movie? I didn't do this on the RX-8 because it is pretty accurate to the movie, but this one, it's not really. So anyways, onto my score out of 10. So one of this car out of 10, it is going to be receiving a 9.5 from me. I think it looks fantastic, and I actually think this body kit is an improvement from the movie. It looks better on this car than the movie's body kit in my opinion. But in terms of accurate to the movie, it's going to be getting a 4. The only thing which was really accurate is obviously the headlights and everything like that, but it should be. And also the side graphics. The rest of it isn't really. Oh, and the interior is as well, the colour of it. Oh, and also the wheels on this Hot Wheels model are decently accurate as well. So yeah, 4 out of 10 for how accurate this car is to the movie. That is unfortunate, but it is something you come to expect with Hot Wheels. They won't make multiple castings of the S2000, one for the movie, because they want to cost cut wherever they can, which is totally something that we come to expect with the Hot Wheels brand. And it happens with every brand, to be honest. But yeah, it's a pretty nice car. I like this thing a lot. I would highly recommend you pick it up in stores because you do get a lot of value for money. Lots of tampo work here. And yeah, I really don't have any complaints about this car, other than the fact it doesn't have any wing mirrors. If it did have wing mirrors, it would be a 10 out of 10 for me. But yeah, those wing mirrors not being there is a shame, but it does have windshield wipers, so that is nice. But anyways, that is it for this video. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure you like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and you can also press that notification bell so you do not miss any new uploads. Remember, you can also share this video with any friends, family, and any groups who may be interested. But remember, don't feel pressured if you don't feel like having anybody who may be interested. You watching this video all the way to the end means so much to me, and I really do thank you for making it all the way up until this point. But anyways, that is it for this video, so I hope you guys did enjoy, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye everyone.